Hey guys, it's Felicia, and Sawyer is here, and I just wanted to go ahead and start doing my labor and delivery story for you guys before I forget everything. It is Monday, April 16th, so Sawyer is officially a week old today. So we've been home from the hospital since last Tuesday. We left when he was about 26 hours old, so we didn't stay very long, and we've been settling in just fine this past week, but I'll go ahead and do a 1 week postpartum separate from this video. So for labor and delivery, here we go. So last Sunday, it was Easter Sunday, and I woke up around 1:30 in the morning, so Monday, 1:30 in the morning, having some really serious contractions, like actual contractions that I knew were real this time. So I tried to go back to sleep and just, but that wasn't working because they were pretty strong, so they were keeping me up. So I just laid there until about 4 o'clock, having contractions. They were coming about every 15 minutes and lasting for about a minute and a half. So I knew that was not close enough together to be like in active labor. I knew it was probably just early labor, but so yeah. I still wasn't extremely positive at that point because, as you know, I'd been having contractions for a couple weeks that were kind of strong. These were really strong, so I knew they were real, but I just wasn't getting my hopes up at that point. And my due date, according to the hospital, sorry, I have a piece of hair sticking out. My due date, according to the hospital, was Monday. So my due date was, he was right on time, according to the hospital, if those were real contractions. So I got up around 4 o'clock, went to the bathroom, and I had some blood. So that's the same exact thing that happened with Nova's pregnancy when I was going into labor with her. So I was like, alright, well, this is definitely probably the real deal. I was already 3 to 4 centimeters at that point, I knew, and I was really thin, so, I didn't think it would take, much to get going with contractions and everything. So I started walking around, and I walked around my house for about an hour, and they were starting to come like 3 minutes apart, but they weren't very long. They were maybe like 30 seconds long. So I called, and they said, since it's my second baby, I'm already dilated, come in. Well, don't wait too long. She said you don't have to rush, but don't wait too long. So about 5:30, we got in the car, went to the hospital. I was really tired because I really hadn't gotten any sleep. So, but I was ready, if he was coming, I was glad. So we got to the hospital with all our bags and everything, and we went into a room where they were going to examine us and hook me up to the monitors. Before they admit you, they make you do that. So I went in and got strapped up to the monitors, and my contractions were seriously, not coming at all. At all. And we had stopped on the way and got some food for breakfast. Just something small at Tim Hortons, but we stopped and got breakfast because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to eat for the day. Anyways, there's a reason I'm telling you that. So we sat in that room for a while. Then they had me walk the halls a little bit, and seriously, contractions were just not coming. They had totally slowed down. Maybe once every hour I was getting a contraction. It wasn't even that bad. So I was seriously bummed. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. This totally sucks. Why won't this kid come out? So, she did check me, and I was 4 centimeters, which I had been 3. So, to be 4 centimeters, I at least knew they were doing something. And I had the bloody show, so I knew things were on their way to happening, just not happening, fast enough at that point. So, about 6:30, the nurse came in, 6:30, 7 o'clock, the nurse came in and checked me again and was like, alright, well, what do you want to do? I know you want to go natural. Do you want to go home? And I was like, at this point, no. I just want to be induced. I'm done. I don't want to have to, I'm like the pregnant woman who cried wolf. I'm coming in here now twice. And, once was for a stress test, but I was just ready to have the baby. So she called the doctor on call, which was not my doctor. It was another doctor. that delivers there, and I had heard of him and everything. I mean, there's only a couple doctors who deliver at my hospital, so anyways, called him, and he went ahead and said that I could have the baby. So she's like, good news, if you want to have a baby today. So I was like, yes, I do. So we got everything situated and switched me to a labor room. And at that point, my husband was feeling really sick. He was looking pale as a ghost, and I was like, oh great. So my husband got he didn't feel good from eating breakfast. That's what we're attributing it to. So thank God I didn't have the same thing he did. But yeah, so he went home while I, this was before I got admitted. He went home pretty much right after I started walking the halls and stuff is when he started feeling really sick. So, anyways, in the meantime, while he was gone, I switched rooms, and it was probably like 8:30, 9 o'clock at this time. Then they came in. My nurse did have a student nurse with her for the day, so I had two girls, that attended to me. The student nurse was going to put my IV in, and because the plan was to start me on Pitocin as low dose as possible, because I did not think it was going to take very much, and I really never wanted to have Pitocin to begin with because I'd heard awful things about having a natural birth with Pitocin. So yeah, they started my IV. The student nurse, she was pretty inconfident getting ready to insert that needle into my hand, and I could tell just how inconfident she was doing it, but those girls have to learn sometimes, so I didn't say anything, and I went ahead and let her do it, and she busted my vein or whatever, she messed it up basically. So the nurse she was shadowing went ahead and put it in my other hand. She went ahead and just did it herself, and so my right hand, the hand I write with, had the IV in it, and then she went ahead and started me on the bag of fluid that they like to put you in. She gave me some ice chips, because at that point you're not allowed to eat anymore, eat or drink. So all that was started, and then my husband texted me that he was on his way back. So he got back. I had to finish pretty much all of the bag of fluid before they wanted to start Pitocin. They wanted to have me nice and hydrated. So now this is where things start getting foggy, because I'm like trying to remember everything that happened, because from here on it was so fast and just crazy. So I mean, I filled out all the paperwork, that kind of thing, and I don't know, I would say about 10:30 she came in and started the Pitocin. I was so nervous. I had been having contractions, though. They did come back, and they were again like 15 minutes apart. So that was at least a good sign before they started the Pitocin. I was thinking, it's not going to take much, and I kept saying, please do not give me a lot of Pitocin, just a little bit. She's like, it's all up to you. I'm leaving it up to you. I'm going to give you one, I want to say milliliter, but I don't really know, one drop every so often. So I think it came out to like 6 drops of Pitocin an hour is what I was getting. It was the lowest dose possible. So yeah, I just kind of hung out and waited for contractions to start, and I would say probably about 15 minutes after she hooked me up to the Pitocin, I started getting contractions, and I started getting a lot of contractions, like a lot in a row. Like I probably had maybe 3 1-minute breaks in an hour. I was having just like really long, intense contractions, and I was just breathing and moaning through them. I found that that's what worked for me. I started out just deep breathing, and then that just wasn't enough. Then I started the deep moaning as I was breathing out, and that is what got me through the contractions. I did sit up in the bed. I really wanted to get up and walk around and bounce on the ball and stuff, but honestly, it went so fast. So 10:30, they started the Pitocin, like I said. I would say 11:30 she came in and checked me, and I had gone from 4 centimeters to 8 centimeters in an hour. So yeah, I was really happy about that, but I was in intense pain. It was very intense. So and my husband just, he felt helpless, of course. He does not like, no man likes to see their wife or girlfriend in pain, so it was pretty intense for him too. He was watching Sports Center First Take, and because it comes on at 10, it's like a 2-hour show, and he thought he had plenty of time and everything, and halfway through, about 11 o'clock, after contractions started coming really intense, I was like, shut that crap off, like, oh my god, the last thing I want to hear is Skip Bayless. I was just like, it was so intense. So then I would say about 11:45, so maybe 15 minutes later, after she checked me and I was 8, she checked me again and I was 9 3/4. And she had me do a little push to see if maybe I could clear that little bit of cervix away, but it didn't work, and she didn't want me pushing too hard because then that piece of cervix could get irritated and swell, and then we would really have a problem. So she decided to just let me have a few more contractions, and about 12 o'clock she checked me. She did at that time start getting everything ready. She brought in the tray utensils of tools, and everything. Thank God it was covered, because last time I remember them rolling that thing in and it was like knife after knife after scissors and of all different sizes, and I was like, oh my god. But yeah, it was all covered this time. So she started getting the warming bed ready and all that kind of stuff. It was really exciting. Also about that time, there was, in addition to my student nurse that I had that was following my nurse around for the day, there was a whole other class of nurses there, probably about 7 girls and a teacher. And the teacher was an older lady, and really nice lady, but she came in when I was 9 3/4 centimeters and in the middle of intense contractions, and asked me if it would be okay if the class came in to watch the delivery. And I was just like, okay, I don't care, I was just like, oh my god, whatever, I don't care who sees this, I just want it to go down, So yeah, like the bed, she transformed the bed into a pushing machine, and to put my legs up in the stirrups and everything like that, and called the doctor, of course, and yeah, then she checked me real quick and I was fully dilated. So pretty much from then, I would say it was about 3 minutes until he was born. The doctor did not make it. I probably pushed twice and his head came out. And then and his head's not big, but when I pushed his head out, I seriously thought his whole body came out. And after I realized that I still had another push to get the shoulders and body out, I was like, oh god. And I can literally remember my legs just vibrating, shaking so bad when he was coming out. But yeah, it was just 3 pushes and his whole body was delivered. His whole baby came out. So the doctor did not make it. He came in about 2 minutes after I had the baby and was like, oh, you didn't wait for me. I was like, there was no waiting. The nurse kept saying, can you wait? Don't push, there was no stopping the pushing. It was like my body was convulsing that baby out. There was no way in hell that I could stop pushing. I tried probably twice, really good, 2 times of mentally just don't push, don't push. It was not happening. So yeah, he came flying out. So he was born at 12:11, so that was less than an hour and a half after they started me on Pitocin. I went from 4 to completely dilated. So yeah, it was so fast. My husband definitely did not think, we both did not think that the baby would be there by noon. We thought, this maybe he'd be, starting Pitocin at 10:30. He might be here by early evening or something. But yeah, definitely didn't think it was going to happen that quickly. So, yeah, he weighed 9 pounds, 1 ounce, and he is 21.5 inches long. And just it's so cool, you know, I had another baby and I did it natural. And I mean, even if I wanted an epidural, I probably wouldn't have time for that. But I probably would have gotten it before Pitocin or something, I don't know, but yeah, definitely wasn't any time for that if I wanted it. And I can remember a few times during the long contractions that I was having where I started thinking about an epidural, and I was like, I can't do that. I cannot sit here and think about an epidural if I'm going to be, serious about this. So, yeah, I did it. So I was really proud of myself for sticking to it and doing the natural birth. It wasn't, when it's all said and done, it's not that bad. I did, however, tear a lot because my body did not have time to slowly stretch. He just came flying out, so I didn't ask the extent of my damage, but it was a lot of stitches, and it took him a while. He had to give me shots of, numbing medication, and then he started stitching me up, and it took a while. I don't know how long, but I'm sure it seemed longer than it actually was to me, because I was just ready to get my legs out of the stirrups. My hips were hurting, and I was just like, and the class did stay to watch me be stitched up as well. Not that you care at that point. At least I don't. At the point where after the thought, I kept thinking, why didn't that nurse come in? She knew I was gonna have a baby today. Why didn't she? The teacher nurse, why didn't she come in and ask me if the class could view my birth before I was in deep labor? But then somebody was like, well, maybe she did that on purpose, because at that moment you don't give a fuck. You just are like, okay, sure. But I think it's a cool experience, and my nurse was like, thank you for doing that. You don't know how rare that is. I was in nursing school for 3 years before I got to watch a birth, so I was glad that I did it, and I honestly don't care, At that point, when you're pushing, there could be 100 people in the room and I wouldn't have known. Yeah, I don't want to make this video too long. I mean, it is a labor story, so kind of a lot of details there, but yeah, everything was good except for all my stitches, which are starting to heal now because I'm itchy, so that's a good sign, but it has been a little harder healing this time. But I'll leave all that for my postpartum update, which I'm not sure when I'll get to, but I will. So I will show you the baby, who I've been holding this whole time. He is such a good boy, so sleepy and peaceful. Here is Sawyer. Can you open your eyes, bud? Ooh. Here he is. Say hi. I'll let you guys see his hair. He's got hair, lots of hair. Look, a little dude. He's so sweet. He's such a good boy. So yeah, that's baby boy. Whole week old now. And I'll show you guys my belly in my 1 week postpartum video, so I don't have to put him down. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I think I pretty much remembered all the details. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.